you serious? Are you serious? Saturday, 9 a.m. I'm on the way to work. Not a lot has really been going on, my friends. I can't say it's like not a lot has been going on, but not enough for me to report. But I did want to come and do a little video so you guys understand that I'm still around before the day changes. Anyway, in another week or two, we're going to have another atmospheric river. 2 more, from what they say. So, we've had so much snow and rain here, it's crazy. Now, yesterday, I might be able to go find this and link it for you, because I wasn't able to see it. I was in the house. So if it was going over, I wasn't looking for it. But it looks like there were some meteors in a cluster that went over. Now, I don't know whether or not that was just 2 or 3 little meteorites, all 3 together, or whether not asteroid, but meteor blew up and those were fragments of that meteor. But it was in the news and it happened up here, so we don't know, I don't know 100%. But anyway, I think it was probably a small meteor that blew up and pieces were in the sky. Now, the funny thing about all this is that I've only got about 5 or 6 of you guys that were on my channel back when I began this in 2011, maybe 10 actually. And all the things I talked about then are happening now. We have more incoming asteroids, more meteors. The weather's crazy. 97 mile an hour winds in some points last week. I told you that's how it would begin. That's how it's begun. Now, we just have to kick back and watch and see as the events get a little bit more and as everything begins to increase. A lot of people are out there and they're trying to say that all the earthquakes and all this stuff is due to a big old weather system up there in Alaska. However, Mike from around the world does not believe that. He thinks that this is all happening from the binary system, and I do too. So, it's not man doing any of this. There might be a little bit of aid here and there. Because it is kind of funny, you'll be talking about an area, and the next thing you know, there's an earthquake there. And whether or not it's just a coincidence or something else, who knows? But they've been talking about these big earthquakes here in California. And Mike from around the world was mentioning that when the ground got really wet, like flooding, then there would be earthquakes and volcanoes going off. I think his water event is something to do with like maybe a major glacier is going to really fall apart and the sea level is going to rise. Or as the pole shift begins to take hold, the water will change. So we have to wait and find out. I might sneeze here in a minute. I found out that with COPD, sneezing's part of it. Kind of interesting. But I'll tell you this. On that little end, because he's, you need to join these support groups and blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what, though? I began to realize, after going on some of these support groups, I'd rather just live the way it is on my own with my family, because you know what? It's grim. And you look at that and go, wow. And what they say is true, but I can't watch that every day. So I just got to live my life. Some people live for a long time with COPD. Some people don't. It just depends on what you do. I am an avid coffee drinker, so that in a way is kind of not cool because you're not supposed to really have a lot of caffeine. But that's my one deal. So, and I do cough. So, it's not as bad as it's been, but you just have times. So anyway, back on the other. The water event's supposed to be something like that. It's going to make the water like go away from somewhere and be bigger somewhere else. So the funniest thing is, I had a guy, and I don't even know if this guy's even watches me. I do remember his last name now. I think it was Tom. I think his last name was like Sleestack or something like that. It was something like, his name was the name of the little reptilian guys from Land of the Lost. That's how I remembered his name. And he used to tell me that all the stuff I talked about was never going to happen, and my physics were wrong, and this and that and everything else, and now here it is. Winds are bigger, rains are more, snows are more, winds are higher. Again, food, water supplies, enough to get you by if you're at your house for a couple of weeks. Now, it's kind of funny, too, because this is off that subject, but I told you guys that major bank that had that faux pas, well, my bank is included in one of those banks. It's not my bank. It's something to do with my mother's estate, okay? That one is pretty much still okay, but it was listed as one of the ones. Couldn't find out it was like insider trading, because these guys sold off their stock and then the thing fell. So it was kind of like they knew. See what I'm saying? But where I work, if a major collapse happens, we will stay open until we run out of what we have, and then we won't be open anymore. So there's that. Because we won't have anything to sell, therefore we can't be open, therefore it will close. Well, if everything works out for me, because we've checked out my whole thing for retirement, I might be able to retire semi by next summer. And I'm sure looking forward to it, because I'm getting to the point where, I guess as though I thought I'd never get old, I sure do feel it. So anyway, hopefully everything's still rocking and rolling by then. So, again, we had little meteorites that broke off from a meteor come in. We had really bad weather, which is coming again this week and then again next week. And so all this stuff that I mentioned back then is happening. Now, another guy that I actually follow, Canadian Prepper, was showing all these desert-colored military vehicles over in Afghanistan or somewhere. I don't know where they're at. But it's kind of funny because in 2010, 2011, there was this major amount of trains that had all these desert-colored military vehicles on them. Destined to where we didn't know. Well, now they show where they were. Other thing is, some Ukrainian general came out and admitted that the losses were on their side was more than being reported, and they demoted him because of that. And don't ever think that this whole war is going to be over. It's a precursor to more. There could be a treaty that stops it, but that'll probably be like one of the major NATO treaties. So, be watching for that. China's going to help them. Iran's going to help them. So, in reality, the war's not over. There's a lot of things that are coming on, and people aren't really watching how it happens. I just wanted to come on and do a video really more like I always do when I've been gone for a while, just to say, hey, look, I'm still here. I'm still doing my stuff. Haven't had much content to really load up, and I just want you guys to know that, what things are happening and this and that, whatever. And so for that, that's what's going on right now. So anyway, about ready to turn this off. Excuse me. And I'll catch you guys a little bit later. So anyway, as I always say, you guys keep your eyes to the skies, be supplied. Who knows what happens? And I'll be back. Peace.